I'm Dr. Jason, and welcome to Draw My Life, where I'm going to take you from the womb to the tomb. Wait, no, not quite to the tomb, but through my life with the pen. So this is my life and the story of me. It all started out with my dad, really cool Brit, and my mom, Persian queen. And they met, I'm going to try to hold hands, in London, in a bar. Soon thereafter, my older but smaller brother was born, and this is Jonathan. Jonathan was born in the UK, and then my parents had the brilliant idea to go to the US of A for me. Moved to Miami, where my mom and my dad had a baby, and they decided to name said baby Jason, which happens to be Greek for healer. Who would have thought? We moved from Miami to California when I was 1 year old. In California, when I was a kid, I think I had a skateboard, and it was around this time that I fell, little tears, the ground, and broke my ankle. Was quickly taken to the hospital with Dad, and it was one of my first major injuries of many. I had another injury where I was playing hockey, and I thought it would be clever to take a hockey puck, this was roller hockey, and to cut the hockey puck with a knife, and to put pebbles in the puck to make it heavy so that it wouldn't fly up in the air. The only problem is when you take a kid with a big knife and a small hockey puck, we have tears again as my hand was bleeding blood, and here's the knife. So I went back to the ER and had about 40 stitches on my left hand. The doctor said, "You almost died," because I almost hit an artery. There was a recurring theme in my youth with the emergency room. Like that one time, I went to the grocery store, this is Mom. Here is my brother, who's shorter, and he's my older and shorter brother. And we had some bags. And we started playing with shopping carts. And most people are probably familiar with the plastic corners on the shopping carts, which they didn't have until my shorter and older brother pushed a shopping cart really hard into me, and I jumped, excuse me, jumping, where I proceeded to fall as the blood was gushing out of my leg. And then my mom put me in the car, drove me to the hospital, and stopped at a red light just prior to the hospital when I was crying and in pain, and wanted her to run the red light to take me to the ER where the doctor was waiting to stitch me back up. And I had 40, I think it was about 45 stitches in my leg. Now, it wasn't all injuries. I also played sports like soccer. I played soccer for about 8 years. I used to ride my bike, I used to skateboard, and we used to slide down rails. So when I was 14 years old, I had some turmoil with the parents, or really they had turmoil with themselves. My beautiful mother was not so happy, my father was not so happy, and they got divorced. Now my mother developed something called mental illness, and it was as if sometimes her head was over here and her body was over here. So there was a bit of a disconnect. Very sad for me and my smaller but older brother. Mom and Dad separated. Mom moved to a small apartment, and Dad stayed in the big house. My older but shorter brother went with my mom, and I stayed with my dad. I started developing some bad habits, some long hair, and becoming too cool, which of course led to problems at school, where the principal said, "Bye-bye, and you'll probably be better off at another school." To which I was too cool to care much about. My mother, because of her mental illness, became homeless. And she didn't quite understand that this was home and this was her with no home. She really did the best she could, always kept a smile on her face, but it was difficult for me and my older but shorter brother. Around the time I was 16 years old, my father and I got into an argument, and he said, "See ya," and kicked me out. Home? Me. I went to my friend's house and paid $125 a month in rent to stay with my friend and do not much of anything. That lasted for a month, and then his mother had to kick me out because actually, as much as I was too cool, I was actually very responsible. And even though I was too cool, I had a full-time job at the bank where I worked 40 hours a week at 16 years old. I was graduating from high school, and I finally kicked the habit of being too cool. I realized that I had no home, little money, and I had to change. Next thing you know, I was 18 years old and I had a baby. Little baby Jayla was born when I was still a baby at 18 years old. Her mother and I argued a lot, and she tried to take the baby away from me, and we ended up split ski. I'm 18 years old with a baby, an apartment with a roommate, and I decided, I better do something with my life. It was around that time that I got accepted into chiropractic college. And then 4 years later, I became Dr. Jason, also known as @Dr. Jason. 4 years went by with some ups and downs in practice, as well as life. Jayla's mother and I fought in court many times over our baby, and life was, to say the least, a little bumpy. But then, like a ray of sunshine into my life, I met a beautiful Brazilian woman named Sarah and her little tiny daughter, Victoria. These are my big muscles. I used to work out a lot at that time. And realizing what a beauty she was, don't forget the biceps, I asked the beautiful Sarah if she would marry me. And of course, she said yes, to which I responded, sweet. And we immediately got busy and brought a boy into this world named Jack. Important note is that my sunshine, named Sarah, and her little Victoria wouldn't have met, don't forget the biceps, in Las Vegas if it wasn't for this little girl who begged Mom, please, can we stay one more day? We stayed one more day in Las Vegas, they stayed one more day, and that's where we met, in Las Vegas. Now back to the story. With Sarah by my side, I reopened my own practice, and the practice started to grow, full of people, because Sarah was my sunshine. One day, while at Active Health in Northern California, I came to work, and one of the doctors asked me to adjust his foot. I went ahead and got out a video camera and shot footage of adjusting his foot and telling a story about specific chiropractic care. We took the footage from the camera, uploaded it to a website on the computer called YouTube, and we were amazed by how many people loved seeing the videos. Little by little over the years, we put more and more videos onto YouTube, and as more and more people started realizing that they can be healthy through chiropractic care, Active Health grew and grew and grew. After building up Active Health in Northern California with my beautiful sunshiny wife Sarah, we decided to take Active Health and move to Los Angeles. We opened up the office in Los Angeles and started to serve from our hearts, and the people just started pouring in. Everybody was happy and everybody wanted chiropractic care. Now, I probably left out some details and probably some fun times. But that brings us to present day, where we are blessed to serve, where every day when I wake up in my house, I operate under the premise that somebody is praying for help, to get their health back, their body back, to return the movement into their life. And all of this is what makes us mission driven. This is the number one reason that every day I'm in spirit, excited every day to show up at work and do three things: to give, to love, and to serve. So in conclusion, although I probably left out some facts, the moral of the story is that we're here to give, to love, and to serve, and we appreciate you subscribing. Have more questions? Make sure to leave comments, and I will get back to everyone personally.